Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the UUR podcast. I am Callie Thomas. My lovely co-host, who is directing air traffic, is Rodnesha Green.
Also hitting things I shouldn't be doing. See, this is why I'm not paid for this.
You just playing around,
causing chaos.
Things.
I don't even know if this is right. Do they do that anymore on the planes?
Well, not with their hands, but with the sticks. They hold the sticks, right? The lights, right? I was just going to say, I'm noticing a pattern of one or both of us like doing some type of voguing at the beginning of these things. We can't sit still.
I know, that's my ADD.
I was about to say ADHD.
Can't stop moving. Gotta keep twitching. Stimming.
But anyway, we are back for another episode of our Pluribus Rewatch, and today we are talking about Season 1, Episode 2, Pirate Lady.
Arg.
But before we get into the episode, Rodnesha, you wanted to talk about hive minds. Yes?
I mean, we're here, right? We're in it. We're all one. We is us and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, I was just like, man, how often have we done this hive mind trope thing in film and television? I started thinking of some particular examples in my head and then was like, if I had to choose, not that I want to choose a hive mind scenario to actually be a part of, because as we discussed in our mini-sode, we don't want that at all.
Right.
And chose to be severed instead. But what has been the most entertaining hive mind I've seen in film, television, media? What about them were interesting or stood out, or which movies have done them? Because I'm curious if I've even seen all of them or if there's others that I've missed out on, and wanted to kind of throw that out there to you as well. Have you watched much other hive-minded things? Hive-minded?
Hive-minded. You have a pretty extensive list here, and I've seen a few of these things, and some of them I'm looking at the list and I'm like, wait, I don't remember the hive mind component. Wait, what is it?
Yeah.
Some of them jump out at me right away, but I think the most fun one for me on this list that you have here is the Rick and Morty Unity episode.
That one was a fun one. That's probably the most 1 comedic, 2 fun, and 3 unique approaches I've seen to the hive mind setup. For those of you who maybe haven't watched Rick and Morty or are not familiar with this episode, essentially Rick goes to a planet. It's a planet he's apparently been to before, where essentially the whole planet is one big hive mind. Actually, wasn't it an invasion of that planet that took over all the people there? And
so it has been invaded by his ex.
That's right.
Girlfriend, Unity, who is the hive mind. So she has taken over the planet.
Yes. And I won't say chaos ensues, but Rick finds a pretty good time there, getting to take advantage of the hive mind access with all the people. It's a fun episode. I that's one of those classic Rick and Morty episodes that I was like, that was a good one. That was a fun one. Another one that I really love that always stands out in my brain is The Faculty from the 90s, a 90s classic, The Faculty. Great movie. Love it.
And see, I need to rewatch it because I know that Usher was in that one. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I know, I vaguely remember, but I don't remember. And I saw that on here. And I was like, wait a minute, that was a hive mind. So I must not remember the movie because I was like, wait, Faculty? So now I need to watch it.
Got to go back and watch it. And then the other one that ended up on this list that I would otherwise have no idea about until we did our recent retread a few months back is Dark City.
Dark City, one of Dan Erickson's sci-fi recs.
If you have not checked out that episode, it's a fun one. Boy, oh boy, what a movie.
What a movie. Oh my gosh, what a movie.
But it is a hive mind, yeah.
I guess, I'm like, that technically is a hive mind. It's weird because they gave people a completely different consciousness.
Yeah, they had an extra component.
Yeah, they did have an extra component to it. It's a little murky. I mean, we won't hash it out again. go listen
No.
to the episode.
Yeah. Please do. Also, which that might be my discussion point for next week. In doing the research with these movies, I realized that there are apparently different levels or tiers of hive mind
Huh?
that can be shown or portrayed. So maybe we'll get into that next week. But I
Yeah.
was like, oh, see, I never really thought about the different classifications, so to speak, of a hive
I
mind
was gonna
portrayal.
say, I think some of these, I think when I think of hive mind, I think of like the one in this show and the Pluribus hive
Mm-hmm.
mind or Rick and Morty, where it's like they all speak and act as one, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
like it seems like there's a one at the helm,
Mm-hmm.
even though in Pluribus not so much, but they all can answer at any given time. They all
Mm-hmm.
so these other ones where it's like, yeah, they're connected, but they're all doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
I think I might not have put in a hive mind. So I guess yes, let me not take away from next week's
yeah, I was going to
discussion.
say, yeah, that can be part of that. But yeah, there's definitely examples now that I'm seeing with these that I'm like, oh, that fits in this tier of hive mind or this tier of hive mind. So I didn't realize, kind of like you, that, for example, case in point, Independence Day is on there, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I guess that's true because it was one of those like kill the queen, kill everybody. So that means they are all
Yeah.
connected,
Connected.
but then they
Mm-hmm.
also can somewhat act independently, or they have
Uh-huh.
a singular objective.
Right. So, yeah, seems like with this list, hive mind is being applied broadly to kind of like any psychic connection.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
We might need to do just a hive mind series in general. Just do some of
Ooh,
these movies. I love Independence Day. We could watch. We could.
ooh. I
I
was
could
gonna say,
always rewatch Independence Day. And we talk
Independence
about
Day is great. Also, I found it funny when Sinners popped up on one of the lists because I was like,
yes,
I guess that's true because even though it
the
is a vampire
vampires.
movie, it's a vampire
Uh huh.
hive mind.
Uh huh. They are a hive mind for sure.
So I was like,
Very
huh.
interesting.
I was like, wow, more is coming up than I would have initially thought or realized. That might be a good idea. We might need to end our Pluribus recap with a few hive mind funsies. Yeah. So if you guys are interested in any of these movies, or if there's a hive mind movie we missed that you're like, yeah, gotta talk about this one, let us know. Hit us up on socials or in our email, and we'll see if we add it to the list. But yeah, that's all I wanted to get into. I just, seeing all the various iterations of hive mind presence when they are portrayed as villains, which is most often the case, or not so much villains as with Rick and Morty, although kind of antagonist in that one too. So I guess they're never quite the hero.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody needs to make a hive mind movie where the hive mind is the hero. That hasn't happened, or has it?
Well, the thing is, they always think they're the hero,
That's true.
right? They think they're doing the good thing.
That's true.
But if you are an individualist, then you disagree.
True.
You know?
If you believe in solo autonomy, then yeah,
Right.
maybe you don't so much click with the hive mind thing. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. Well,
Okay.
we can move on.
Okay. So here is your summary of episode 2. So while burying Helen, Carol is approached by a new character, Zosha, who is a member of the hive mind, quote, the others. And she explains that all the infected humans share one consciousness containing each other's memories, including Helen's. When Carol hears this, she lashes out at Zosha and she convulses, more convulsing. So after recovering, Zosha reveals that Carol's anger overwhelmed the hive mind and that many died. Carol demands to meet the other immune members, just the ones who speak English, and they arrange a meetup for them in Bilbao, Spain. One of the survivors is the hedonistic Kumba Diabate, and he arrives in Air Force One, hence our backgrounds today. And the group assembles there, and Carol discovers that the other survivors have accepted this new collective existence. And despite her pleas to them to search for a cure, they don't really want to help. So Zosha explains that the others are nonviolent and admits that unfortunately, a very large amount of people died during the initial, quote, joining. They have come to call it the joining. And enraged at this, Carol accidentally triggers another deadly global seizure amongst the others, prompting the other survivors to abandon her. So Mr. Diabate tells Carol that he plans to travel to Vegas with Zosha as his companion, but he requires Carol's permission to do this. Carol protests, but then allows Zosha to go. But then at the last minute, she has a change of heart and she rushes to stop their departing plane. That's where the episode ends.
The plot thickens this episode. So, our cast for episode 2 includes our main characters, Ray Seahorn as Carol Sturka, and now introducing Carolyn Wydra as Zosha, or aka the woman, aka Pirate Lady. Our guest stars for this episode include Samba Shoot as Mr. Diabate, Kumba Diabate, Menik Gunaratne as Lakshmi, Darinka Arones as Kusamayu, Anna, or Anna maybe,
Myra
Mhera as Vesper, Max Reeves as Margot, Olivia Royer as Genevieve or Genevieve. I've heard it both ways. And we don't hear it either way in this show. Anyway, we don't know who these people, the last three are.
I was going to say who? Okay, you don't know who they are either? I was like, who are these three? And they're billed as guest stars, not co-stars. And yet 2 members of the 5 are billed as co-stars, not guest stars. And I'm like, well, all the 5 spoke. I don't know who these 3 people are.
Yeah. I couldn't figure it out. I tried.
Okay. I thought I missed something.
The only thing I could think is if they were the people that were like getting Zosha ready but they don't speak.
Yeah, but none of them spoke.
I know. I don't know.
Huh.
I'm very confused.
I don't know.
Anyway, okay. Our co-stars include Amara Sanjid as Atong Bayar and Sharon Gee as Shumei, David New as New Shmo.
Shangsheng?
Thank you. Yes, I think you're right. Shangsheng. Yes. Yes. Good job. Elena Esther as Taika, Jennifer Esquivel as Sisa, Piyush Gupta as Aru, Ryan, or maybe Rayan, Kamal Khan as Ravi, and Vijay Nathan or Nathan as Padma. This episode was written by Vince Gilligan, Ariel Levin, and Vera Blasi, and directed by Vince Gilligan.
Woohoo.
Oh, we did it.
Anyway, we apologize.
So sorry.
But okay, so cold open. We open in a desert. We see a woman in tattered clothes, covered in dirt. She's walking through a dusky town. We can see destruction throughout the town in the distance, fires, smoking, just chaos. The woman walks to an overturned vehicle and she checks on the driver, who is dead. Then a man drives up in a truck, then proceeds to help this woman load the body from that car into the back of the truck, joining more dead bodies. Another man then drives up on a motorcycle and gives the woman his helmet. She trades places with him, then rides off. As she goes from the town through a city, we see that there are cleanup crews collecting bodies all over. She then arrives at an airport and walks onto the cargo plane that is prepped and ready for her. And she goes straight to the cockpit and flies off in the plane all by herself. And that's the cold open.
I feel like you and I had the same note at one point of just like the lack for need of communication.
Yeah.
Clearly.
I was like, they're not talking. Oh, wait, I guess they don't have to talk. Right. They just know what to do because they're all in everybody's head. They know they don't have to talk. But I was like, this is interesting because then we as the viewer don't get any exposition.
No, not at all. Not from their POV. No. Yeah. It's funny because naturally it was as the woman at this point, as we know her, is driving through and passing people. My human individualistic self, natural, Southern, whatever, is like, as you pass people, you wave, hey, hi, so-and-so, hi, so-and-so.
A head nod.
Yeah. And then when I was like, oh, she's not going to wave it on me, not going to acknowledge anybody. And I was like, oh, well, I guess, do you wave it yourself?
Right.
Because that's essentially the equivalent.
Right.
The equivalent of what this is. Hello.
That's a very interesting point because I know you do this and I certainly do this, but I talk to myself. I sing to myself all the time. to the point where I'm like, Callie, if someone saw you right now, they think you're crazy,
Crazy.
right? So I feel like if I was the head of a hive mind, I'd just be interacting with
Be
myself
like,
all kinds
hey,
of ways.
me and jeans. Hey, me, old
Yep.
man. Hey, like I still, there goes baby me. There goes middle-aged woman me. Like I'd be so amused to see all these different iterations
Right?
of myself. But yeah, anyway, I guess again, when you're a hive mind, these things don't amuse you.
Right. Right.
It's a little unfun. We need more fun hive mind heads.
More fun hive mind.
More fun in the hive mind. That's going to be our slogan for when we run for hive mind president, chair, king, whatever. I don't know. Do they have titles? Who knows? Anyway. Oh, right. No hierarchy. So no,
Not this one.
they would not
No
have
hierarchy
titles.
in this one. No.
Right. Yeah.
There's no one in per we is us and us is we and we are.
And we are them and
Yeah.
they are me and so forth. So fun little notes at this point that, are seemingly innocuous, but I challenge listeners to pay attention to, for example, the body collection.
Mm-hmm.
I would keep a mental record of that.
Yes.
Also, another hint I saw being dropped was in the title sequence. And this is the first episode we get our full-on little title sequence with the music. It's very short, but very interesting. And you get this little pulsating rhythm on the P again.
Yes.
It looks kind of cool. You don't think it's anything, but I challenge you listeners to make a mental note of that because it will come back.
Ooh.
But yeah, so the only other thoughts I had at this point was Zosha looks terrible. Like
Terrible.
I remembered from watching it through the first time that she's, dirty and definitely looking kind of not as cleaned up and polished as we see her later. But like when they did that close up on her face, I was just like, oh, she looks horrible. Like what was she doing? What was her life? I have so many questions about her story at this point.
Yeah.
We still aren't very clear on where in the world we are when they pick her up.
I was just going to say, did you catch what it says on the airport sign? Because I tried and I couldn't read it fully. It was blurry. Okay. I was just going to see if the internet knows because I didn't catch that.
I know that we later get a story from her where she talks about her upbringing. I don't know if that necessarily
but I don't think she says the country.
Right. Yeah. Agree.
Hold on.
What I wanted to do was try to tie anything to, like, is there any event or thing going on?
Right.
At this point in time, again, we don't quite know in the show storyline what year it is, but I was like, was there anything happening in Morocco?
Yeah, because it looks like a war-torn area. So is that just destruction from the event?
Yeah.
The joining?
What I also found interesting, because again, what we've kind of seen of the joined so far is that most of them don't really, unless they are, as we see later, chaperones, etc., don't really feel the need to like pick out a wardrobe, change clothes. They're like, most of them just kind of pick up in whatever they're wearing and kind of just go about their life in that, unless there is some specific reason they need to change. Most of them are just kind of wearing what they wore at contact. So it was interesting to me. They definitely did a close up. You saw that she had like this very burlappy looking tunic or whatever.
Yeah.
And she has military looking combat boots, or maybe not military, but like it didn't just look like, sad, poor shoes that you just throw on your feet. That they looked like pretty sturdy boots. So I was like, what's her deal? What was she doing? She's got short hair.
Yeah. And I made a note about the short hair later because I didn't notice that the first time watching. And then I was like, oh, her hair was short. Okay, gotcha.
I clocked that this time around. I didn't quite pick it up in my brain the first time, but this time I was like, wait, her hair's short.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So let me add some quick Google context here since we know it's Morocco now. So if you are like me and do not know geopolitical just to color and why where she is looks the way it looks. The primary ongoing conflict in Morocco involves the 50-year dispute over Western Sahara, where Morocco controls 80% of the territory and the Algerian-backed Polisario Front seeks independence. Following a 2020 ceasefire breach, low-intensity fighting persists with Morocco strengthening its position through international recognition, notably from the U.S., of its sovereignty, while regional tensions with Algeria remain high. Okay. So that's what is happening and makes sense if this show is supposed to take current, within this last 5 years.
Yeah. Okay. See? All right. Yay, Google. Glad you looked it up. Okay. Well, I guess let's move on. So, day one begins. We open on Carol waking up from a very drunken stupor. The clock flashes on the screen and reads 00 days, 11 hours, 26 minutes, and 27 seconds, and counting after the event. Mm-hmm. Carol opens up a chest in the bedroom and pulls out an old quilt, which she uses to wrap Helen's body in. She looks around the backyard for a moment, then gets to work on digging a grave, which is wild. Mm-hmm. The woman on the plane arrives at the airport in New Mexico. A man hands her a drink, which she chugs as she walks into a building. She then discards the empty container into a waste bin and then takes off all of her clothes and discards those too. She goes to a bathroom with showers where there are attendants present and they have everything prepared for her: towels, clothes, hair, makeup, etc. We'll get into it. Okay.
Yeah. I kept that part short just because I was like, there's a lot more happening later. So let's just
get this.
So yeah, digging the grave. I was like, oh man, Carol, this is rough. I have not ever. And then I was thinking about it and I was like, no, I did do it for a pet once. And that's too much. That's too much. And I don't want to do it again. I can't imagine. Yeah.
The fact that you even did it for a pet.
A baby turtle.
Oh, I wanted to do it for my hamster. And then my dad was like, we're not digging any holes in the backyard. And then I was like, well, we have to bury him. And so my dad was like, oh, I'll take him to the vet and they'll be able to bury him there. Guess what I found out? Did not take him to the vet. Pretty much just chucked him out the window of a car.
Oh, no. I was going to say that's not what they do to them at the vet, honey. They're not burying. They're incinerating it if you take it to the vet to get rid of it.
That's fine. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. It would have all been terrible. Right. But I just was like, they need to do something special with him. I wanted to be able to visit him. I wanted a little grave. Yeah. And my dad was like, we're not doing that.
See, we lived in an apartment, so we did not have a yard to bury this turtle in.
Okay.
And I distinctly remember it was like just in like
a garden,
a planter area, like on the walkway to the parking lot. And we did. But to be fair, it was a baby turtle. It was very, very small, teeny, tiny. So I have two turtles that I've had since the first grade. It's very difficult in California to get these box turtles to mate because they have to have hibernated for the right amount of time for the eggs to then get fertilized. So otherwise they're just having sex during mating season with nothing else going on, right? There's no result of it.
Just for funsies.
And so because I was little and I was like, we want them to have babies, my mom got very, very serious about like learning about all the things to do, right? So we did all the things. They had a bunch of eggs. 2 of them hatched. We gave 1 to my cousin. I kept 1. Mine only lived for a year. They're very hard to keep alive, and hers lived for like 5 years before it passed, which is sad. We couldn't do it. It wasn't enough. But yeah, so it was very, very tiny. I think that's probably why my mom let me bury it.
I mean, at least he had a place. He had a place to go. Yeah, I can't imagine digging a whole human-sized grave.
Yeah.
So when we get past Carol's digging and we get back to the woman who has arrived and touched down in New Mexico, we get some fun little Easter egg things, another little clocket thing that you noted that I actually didn't catch until I saw your note. And I was like, oh, now I got to go rewatch that scene. And I was like, oh, they did hand her a drink.
Yeah, and she chugged it, which is interesting because it's like, yeah, the individual bodies still need to be taken care of, obviously, right? So was the whole world just like thirsty because she was thirsty on that plane and they were like, here, take this?
Do you think it's because whatever condition she had prior to, she'd probably been malnourished and it wasn't until she got stateside that she had access to something to nourish her with?
Well,
do you think like she had just been kind of thirsty and hungry that whole time?
I don't know how long she was thirsty, but you know what I mean? I'm just saying they just knew she was thirsty.
I mean, that's true. They would know. Again, hive mind.
Well, do they all feel the thirst? They all feel the
like,
thirst.
Girl,
and they're like,
drink this.
Ooh, you parched. Right? Because then she chugged it.
Now that brings up an interesting point because again, hive mind has happened. They all have connected access. So clearly there are people who have been joined that are in more poverty stricken parts of the world, right?
Yes.
So then are they all feeling like starved at the same time that they're feeling like, how does that work? Clearly, there are people in the hive mind that are very well taken care of and very
Right.
satisfied. But then also you're connected to the people that are clearly not been taken care of and not so like, what do you,
Yeah, I think without giving anything away, when we learn more about Zosha later on, she
mm-hmm,
talks about kind of like just a peripheral awareness of how everyone is feeling. But then in my mind, I feel like it makes me think of how empaths have to avoid like world news and stuff because
mm,
it's too much.
mm-hmm,
Like
mm-hmm,
if they're aware of too much, then it affects them too much.
mm-hmm,
So if they're
mm-hmm.
all connected, they can't possibly all be physically satisfied all at the same time. So like
Right.
how do you function if a portion of you is always hungry or there's always a portion of you that's hungry, there's always a portion of you that is thirsty, there's always
That is the
sick,
part that
tired.
confused me because I was like, okay,
Yeah.
joining happens. Instantly people are all getting synced up, right? And like you said, we have disparities, obviously, because people live in disparities. Do they not feel compelled to immediately rush to the needs of the people who are in disparity? Like, we've got to get these people food, drink, better clothing, da da da. Or does it just not matter anymore? Like, what
Right.
is food? What is nourishment? What is poverty? What is, like, or do they all go off the vibes of the people that are feeling better? And
That's what I was going to say, because the flip side of that is like those people are also at the same time aware of the feeling full and feeling content and feeling, fulfilled,
yeah.
so it's all just in there at once. But yeah,
But also, they do still have a physical body that needs to be maintained,
right.
right? So, like,
Exactly.
do they rush those people to emergency services to get them better nourished so that they can function better?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we have to come back to it,
Yeah.
right? If we're
Yeah.
trying not to spoil. Right. Okay. We'll come back to it.
Anyway, these are the questions. We don't understand it. How does the hive mind work? So anyway, so there's that. But all that to say, clock the fact that she gets a drink from a particular container carton
Mhm.
that she throws away. I'm just saying, just keep it in your brain. Maybe it'll come
Keep it
back.
in your brain.
Okay. Another fun thing that I noted, because you know me in music, soon as she walks into whatever building it is that they're in, and immediately disrobes in the waiting room, I clocked that there was music playing. And I was like listening to it. I was like, wait, I know that song. Hold on, I know what that song is. And I was like, hearts of fire,
Mhm.
not desire. And so I was like, oh, this is Earth, Wind, and Fire. So the music that is playing in the waiting room is That's the Way of the World by Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know, no songs are accidents. The lyrics are Hearts of Fire creates love, desire, takes you high and higher to the world you belong. Hearts of Fire. Sorry. Hearts of Fire creates love, desire, high and higher to your place on the throne. And it continues to go on there. But basically, it tracks for the vibe that the hive mind kind of wants to live in, right? Like,
Mhm.
we're all just like burning up with this like good feeling, and we're all just like going riding these waves of high to like, we're all connected, everything's great. Like, that felt like the correct song. What I found interesting about it is that it's in Muzak form. So then it also
Mhm.
feels like a distorted version of that feeling, right? Like, it's not quite
Yeah.
correct. Like, it's not quite right. Like it's that's what we want you to
Mhm.
believe and want you to feel,
Yes.
but it's the
Ding, ding,
Muzak
ding.
version.
Yeah. I
So,
was like, this is what we're trying to sell, but it's not, there's
mm-hmm,
something artificial about it.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. If you hear the actual song by Earth, Wind, and Fire, individuals, musicians who are all contributing their creativity to the song, it's a baller song. It's a great song. It's a bop and does give you that feeling. But then when you hear the music kind of pared down, very unified, hive-minded version, which to me is what music is, right? It's the digested down version that everyone can just kind of like zone out to, right? It's
Mhm.
not asking too much. It's not too complex. That's what this is.
Yes.
I felt that very appropriate for them to introduce in this moment. Definitely on purpose. The music's always intentional, guys. Always. So yeah, just felt like that was very appropriate to note.
Yeah. This is where I noted the hair
Oh, right.
because when Zosha is about to walk into the bathroom, we see someone setting up the towels, someone setting up their makeup stand, and then someone combing a wig. And I was like, wait a minute. that's a wig. And then I probably spent too much time thinking about it as
Yep. How are
a
we
toe bag
keeping?
moment all the time. No, well, I think I was like, how did I not notice that before? And I think the reason is that what is really the wig in real life is the short hair.
Oh, yeah.
And what is, you know,
Her hair is the long hair. Yeah.
the rest of the time it is her actual hair. But we see them prepping this hair, and I'm like, oh, her hair is short right now. How did I miss that first
So
time?
what this did to me once I noticed that the Zosha hair is a wig was made me jump forward to an episode that we're going to see much further down the pike, and just getting into the semantics of the wig and how did they did she ever notice if it was a wig or not? How are we working with this wig? Is this a sew-in? It didn't look like a sew-in. It looked like a lace front. Anyway, too much thinking about that. And then just in general, the daily upkeep of wearing the wig. Does she have people that are like retouching that wig every day or styling it? Does she learn how to do it? How's the glue holding?
She doesn't have to learn how to do it, right, Nisha?
Oh,
She
you're
knows
right.
everything.
Everybody knows. That's right. Everyone knows.
She just knows. She just does it. That's going to be the answer to every question.
So you're telling me that every night, does the wig come off? Does she put it back on every morning? Are we redoing this wig? Because wig care, if anybody knows about wearing wigs and wig care, it is a process for it to look natural and for it to look right. And she don't ever look like she's wearing a wig. So
I think they really wanted us to forget, because dang, it's so hard. Man, I forget how hard this was when we were doing the recap of season 1.
I know, and you can't tell.
It's so hard. I don't want to spoil it, because I'm like, later on, I'm like, that situation. There's some situations where it should have been revealed that this was a wig.
Yes.
Doesn't get revealed.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. So I was like, let me not get ahead of myself. But all that to say, the revealing of the wig this watch through just made me put into question so many things. And I know that's not the point. The point is just like they're trying to make this woman who they want Carol to fall for or be endeared to or whatever. But for me, my brain could not get off the schematics of the wig. Just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
that's it.
Yes, that's it for this section. Okay. So now we start getting into the meaty meats. Okay. So enter Pirate Lady. So Carol hits a rock while digging in her backyard, and she is then interrupted by the woman we've been following up until now. And she is all cleaned up and dressed in fresh clothes, and she looks warm and inviting. She's got like a half up, half down do and a cable knit sweater, and you want to give her a hug. Yes. So the woman asks if Carol is okay, and she says that they are concerned that she hasn't eaten and she is close to heat exhaustion. So when Carol inquires about if they are spying on her, she says, yeah, we're watching from an Air Force drone up there. And then she quickly realizes that that's a little weird, and she sends the drone away. She's like, oh, sorry, that was a bad idea. We won't do that anymore. It's gone. That was really funny. And then Carol asks if she is there to change her, but the woman says, oh, we don't know how to do that yet. And so she asks who this particular woman is. And she at first just says, someone we thought you might like. Hang on to that. So the woman steps closer and offers Carol a bottle of water, which Carol then takes from her and empties out. And she leaves so as not to upset Carol. So the woman leaves as to not upset Carol further, but then Carol runs out and stops her before she gets into her car and leaves. And she runs inside and she grabs one of her Waikaro books, and then she holds it up to the woman's face. And the woman is the spitting image of Carol's main character, Raban, except that she is a woman and Raban is a man. And Carol says she and Helen were the only people who knew that Raban was supposed to be a woman first. And then the woman explains that she knows this because Helen briefly joined them before she passed. So they have access to all of her memories. Thinking back to episode 1, this explains why the children of the corn in the cul-de-sac knew about Carol getting locked out of the house and where the keys were hidden, right? Because they have Helen's memory of that event. So Karen is livid at this revelation and she blows up at the woman. And then the woman suddenly goes stiff and she's dead in the eyes. And then she starts to convulse and starts to fall. And Carol catches her and lowers her to the ground. She calls out for help, but no one answers. It's like the event all over again. She's panicked. So she gets into the truck, which is not her truck. She still has that man's truck. Um, BTW. It just hit me as I was saying that because I was about to say
true.
she gets to her truck, but it's not her truck. It's that man's truck because her truck she can't drive because I'm pretty sure she's still drunk right now. Anyway, so she begins driving around looking for anyone who can help. She comes across another group of frozen people doing some work on the side of the road or on the side of the building, and one is hanging from the cherry picker crane. And so Helen goes to the controls of the truck and tries to figure out how to work the crane and how to lower the man. And as she's struggling, the people come to, and one of them tells Carol, "Don't worry, we've got it from here." She apologizes and they assure her that it's all right, Carol, everything's fine, including the man as he's still hanging from the crane. Like, it's all right, Carol, don't worry. So Carol returns home to find that the woman and her car are gone. She goes into the backyard and she sees that the woman has left her a pickaxe, some gloves, and a sun hat. So Carol then goes inside, picks up the phone, and says, "The pirate lady can come back."
Okay, so Carol and the woman, that whole framing, the way they keep them distanced, I found very interesting. I think it's one of those things that, so I put in the notes that the way they have Zosha framed in the doorway and staying at that entrance point feels very like vampire knocking at your door. Can I enter? May I be invited in? It's weird how the joined respect boundaries at times and then don't, right? Like, we, of our own volition and own free will, went and grabbed this woman out of obscurity, dressed her up to basically be like your new best friend, because we just decided that was a good idea. But then, oh, let's not just rush her on you. Let's like let her just kind of stand there and get acclimated. We don't want to scare you off. But also we have a sky cam watching you and we didn't quite clock that that's weird. Oh, maybe now we really, like, it's just weird how they have things that they respect boundaries for and then other things that they don't. And
and this will definitely come back around when we talk more and more about lying. Do they have the ability to lie? Can they lie? Can they not lie? Right? Because it seems like they're forming their own little technicalities or like finding loopholes with their own rules, right? So like with the drone, when Carol's asking if they're spying on her, she's thinking that like they've got stuff set up in the house or whatever. They're accessing her things in the house, and they're just like, no. We just saw that you came outside. So they're like, it's not spying if we're watching from a public airspace above. Like, no, you are still spying. You're literally watching her house to wait until she comes outside. That is spying. So like you're playing a game of semantics here.
It reminded me, now that you say that, it reminds me of watching the Top Model documentary. And sorry, it's very fresh on the brain. But one of the loopholes they had to filming the women was like, initially they told them like, oh, we'll never film you in the bathroom or in the shower unless there's two or more of you, then we can come in, right?
And then bring someone in here with you.
And then they use that little loophole to essentially film an entire assault happening on a person. That was terrible.
Girl.
That's a whole, that you have to watch the Top Model doc. That's a whole different story if you follow that at all. But the point being was like, oh, well, we can film it because she's not in there by herself. And so here we go. And it's just like, okay, so we respect your privacy, but also not. And also we don't feel the need to like intervene, but we can take advantage. Like yeah. So all that to say, it's giving that, this whole situation.
Yeah.
All the little loopholes. I also found it interesting, the choice to have Carol living in a cul-de-sac. One, it just was very visually, like just seeing that loop circle to get to her home. I was like, that was an interesting choice. It is symbolic in a way. Obviously, Carol is like the stopgap in this little circle that they're trying to form, right? They can't quite close the loop. Also, cul-de-sacs are not very accessible, right? I used to live in a cul-de-sac, which is perfect. If you want to like have a bit of privacy to your home, you don't want a bunch of like street traffic, cul-de-sacs are great. You have your own little enclave, your own little world.
As a child, I always wanted to live in a cul-de-sac
Oh,
because those kids get to play in the
yes,
streets.
they get to play in the street. You don't have to move your toys. You don't have to worry. Just free roaming. So all that to say, it all feels very symbolic to Carol. Them trying to access Carol, it's not quite easy to do. We've got to make all these little inroads to get to her. So again, just a fun little visual storytelling choice Vince Gilligan made, or his team made with that. So clocked that. The other thing that I noted, and it reminded me that I didn't get to explain it last episode, was when she comes back to find that Zosha has left her the hat and the gloves and all the gardening stuff, and they're yellow. And I was like, she gets yellow gloves. And that reminded me of the yellow jacket last episode. So the thing that I didn't get to note is the color theory of it all. Now, I mentioned how Vince Gilligan was using purple in the first episode as an establishing color for like the joined, the hive mind, the collective was kind of all being purple identified or purple coded. And if you look at a color scale, and I know you know this because you're an artist, the opposite of purple is yellow. The opposite of collective is individual. So they do a lot to put Carol in yellow things. I'm noticing episode by episode to kind of reaffirm this individualistic, hyper individualistic, like sticking to her guns way about her. So
yeah,
I just needed to get that out there. I was like, I didn't explain it. I got stuck on the Kill Bill thing.
You're like, wait, there was more. There was more to this.
There was more. So yeah, so just keep that in mind. If you see her in yellow, more pops of yellow, that's why.
Yeah, makes sense. So another piece of this section. So when Carol asks her next question about, are you here? You're here to make me one of you. Zosha says, we're months away from knowing how to do that. And so, the first time I watched this, I didn't think anything of that. But now I feel like this is the beginning. This is the first little fib here. Maybe it's not the first one, but it's the first thing that really makes me be like, but are you? Are you? With all of the greatest minds in the world, are you months away from that? Are you trying to lull her into a sense of security that is not actually there? I don't, without giving away how, like, the duration of the season.
Yeah, we'll get back to that.
So is it, yeah. Are they wrong or are they lying?
And that's one of those, it's one of those either by omission or like, we can give.
They do a lot of that.
We can, they do. Sorry.
There's a lot of that. It's in my notes later in the same episode, so it's going to come up.
So there's a lot of that. Is it also like the kind of trying to distance, like I can give you this answer because I don't have the exact answer. So I'm not lying in that I don't know what the exact answer is. And so an estimate is an estimate. So if I say it could take a year, it could take a year given, I don't know, all these other circumstances.
Right.
Is it possible that it could take maybe realistically 6 months? That is also possible. That is also true. And maybe more true, but not necessarily not untrue. It's like that thing.
And any answer is true. And then the truest answer is, I don't know. Right? So the truest answer in that situation is for them to tell Carol, actually, we don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Right? She didn't have to embellish and say we're months away from knowing how to do that. We just say, we don't know how to do that yet. Don't give her a timeline at all. True. That would have been the true truth.
It's the picking and choosing. It's the picking and choosing.
Yeah, it is. It's, I think because they have, again, this just came to me, because they have access to all of the minds, they have access to the most manipulative minds.
Ooh.
They can't be trusted, period.
They got sociopaths tapped in. They've got psychopaths.
They have politicians.
They've got politicians, lawyers.
They've got, they have all of the people that you need to give a TED talk on how to manipulate, how to debate, how to convince somebody of something.
That is a good point. So they're like the masters of loopholing.
Lies. See, I just convinced myself. They can lie. They're liars. I'm mad I didn't think of that when we did our mini-sode, because we talked a lot about lying in the mini-sode.
That's true. Oh man, that's true. That is a very good point. They are tapped into every kind of mind. So they literally know how to come at any kind of question from any kind of angle. And we'll see an example of that a little bit later in this episode as well. So
yes. Yeah.
Anything else in this section?
Just the funny section when Carol is trying to help the man off the crane. She can't figure up and down, just side to side. So she's just dragging that man's face across the side. And I was like, this is wild, Carol. Stop moving it. Just stop. You're making it worse.
I don't know how I didn't, like, I knew that she was struggling the first time I watched it through. I guess I didn't find the comedy in the moment because everything's so first time jarring, right? You're just like, oh. And so watching it again, it is very funny. And the close up that he got of this man just like,
face smushed against
and then later on him dangling and be like, it's okay, girl. I'm fine.
Right. Like, are you though? I know your face hurts.
You've got road rash, my guy. Like, what are we talking? What are we talking? There's like layers of skin she just rubbed off. Oh, gosh.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Let's move forward. So let's get into the aftermath of this whole situation. When the woman returns, Carol asks if she was the cause of what just happened. The woman explained that they are affected by Carol's emotions and that they have a difficult time handling it when she gets too intense and it's very much intensely directed at them. So Carol then asks if she hurt anyone or if anyone died. She's very reluctant to ask this question. The woman's silence implies that yes, people did die. Carol asks how many, and the woman says, worldwide, a few. Okay. Carol then presses for more details. Dozens? Hundreds? More silence. Carol then throws up because obviously it's a lot. While Carol is collecting herself, the woman takes over the digging. When Carol stands up to resume the process, the woman tells her that there is an easier way for her to dig this hole. We cut to a backhoe being helicoptered in. When it lands, the woman calmingly unhooks it, gets in, and starts digging. When Helen has been properly buried, Carol begins asking if everyone is changed besides the 11. The woman confirms this and says yes. But it's not 11 anymore. It's actually a total of 12 people who have not been joined. And they were recently made aware of another immune man in Paraguay. So Carol asks if she hurt any of the immune people by enacting this whole situation, and is told that one might have obtained minor injuries. She then asks how many of them speak English and is told 5 of them do. Carol wants to meet these people. The sooner the better. The woman looks down and goes silent for a moment. Carol worries that it's happening again. So she starts to freak out and panic a little bit, but then the woman looks back up and says, the 5 have agreed to meet you. So that's about to get underway.
The lie again. Here's the lie. Here's what I was mentioning earlier. So the worldwide, a few. The first, now this, I knew, this is the reaction I had the very first time I watched it. I said, that's a lie. Immediately, I said, that's a lie. The worldwide, a few. I was like, that's semantics, because she's talking about, a few in relation to the billions of people on the planet.
Exactly.
It's a few.
Exactly. See?
We will find out the number later, and it's not a few, and you're a liar.
And this is semantics. It's so funny to get into the weeds about the semantics, because just as we saw in the previous scene, it's all relative, right? It's like, well, it's not a lie because it's relative to what, and you know that person has a thing in their head when you say a few.
Right.
Relative or not. We all know that most people, a few is not going to be more than 10.
3. No.
Realistically, yes. But we know that few is a small number.
Yes. Yeah.
So anything over that, most people are not going to call a few.
Yeah.
But for them, they're like, well, when you consider that there are billions of people on the earth and you do the math and you calculate and you think of that time of day and it's a few. Yeah.
I wrote here, just like we talked about lying by omission earlier. I was like, a lie by semantics is still a lie. Just because you made it flowery doesn't mean you didn't lie.
I'm going to think going forward about what you said about the whole like being tapped into various different minds, because that really does change things. It really does. Mm-hmm. And I won't be able to think of it any other way. It's like, politicians are part of this hive. Like,
right,
like,
right.
Can't get over it. Anyway, okay. You noted something, as did I.
Okay.
When they start talking about who has been impacted and how, and the joined, and Carol's basically prodding Zosha about like, okay, so what about the people that are here, and these folks are here, and people on remote islands, you've got them too? And Zosha's like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, what about the astronauts up in space? And she's like, yeah. And as soon as they said that, I was like, wait, no, how?
Yeah.
How do you do that and it not be known?
Yeah, because she says, she with the astronauts and then a couple other like remote, just in general, people in very remote places.
Yes.
She says that they turned them first, right? They went to the outer, the fringes, the people on the fringe, and got them first. Which makes sense for like someone in Antarctica, right? But doesn't quite make sense for space.
No.
Because my thought is like, well, obviously they didn't turn them once they were already in space, right? Right?
I mean,
right? That doesn't make any sense at all.
No, it doesn't. And that's where my brain went.
So then did they turn, if all of the astronauts currently in space, on the International Space Station and whatnot, right? Because it's global, right? We're not just talking about from NASA. We're talking about from all over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did they turn them with their individual, like before their individual missions, and then they went up already joined? And if they did that, how did they hide it? Because
that part.
Up until this point, so far, we haven't seen any of them. They act individually in their movements, right? They all have different tasks and things that they're doing, but not in how they're speaking to anyone. They still speak as we constantly. They you know what I mean? So they haven't shown us, at least yet, that they have the ability to pretend.
That part. I just kept thinking there's so much red tape, especially when it comes to like anything regarding NASA, space programs, etc. And it always makes like news anytime anything's happening. So I'm like, how would you cover that up? How would you, like you said, is there a way that you're kind of like doing the math or the estimates on when people will be grounded versus when they'll be, space bound, and you try to catch them beforehand or just as they're coming back? Or I don't know. I just feel like for the timeline they had prior to the mass acceleration, y'all got all that done in that much time?
Right. And then it's like, okay, so then let's say you went to NASA and at the time they don't have anyone in space, and you go and you turn the people who are scheduled to go into space because they're not going to be reachable once they're in there. In order for them to not be found out, you would have to turn all of NASA anyway, right? So you turn everyone who is working there. And then if that's the case, what's the point of going through the motions and sending them to space anyway? I feel like you send a rocket wherever, and they, like, the people on Earth wouldn't know that you're not doing, you get what I'm saying? So that, I was like, that detail is sticky, and I don't like it.
It's getting sticky. Yeah. Yeah, same. That one stuck in my craw as well. And it's another one of those hand wavy, like, yeah, we did that. But it's like, but hold on. How?
Well, hold on. Wait a minute.
We're not just going to say, oh, yep, got that too.
Back it up a little bit.
Explain yourself. And they won't. So that's fine. And there are a lot of those moments. That's another thing we'll preface as the episodes go on. There are a lot of things that Vince Gilligan has even talked about in interviews that, like, people want to, because this show does tap in a bit into like the science and probabilities and maths and things like that of what they're doing. But then there's also some element of just like, we just did it, like story, plot, right? So when you start digging, you're like, well, how that doesn't, what are logistics and da-da. And Vince Gilligan's like, listen, we wanted to give some accuracy in some ways, and in other ways, story magic.
We don't care. Right. Yeah.
That's
fair.
Hollywood.
But also.
Yeah.
hard to get past when you are dissecting a
Yes.
show for a podcast.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. I don't have much else, I think, in here that really, other than the revealing of the 12.
Yeah.
And again, that's another thing that I'm like, how'd you miss this person?
He's hiding.
But I guess, okay.
It's not like it took them too long, right? It hasn't been a day.
No, it didn't. But I guess it's one of those things where it's like, but if you missed that person, could you have missed other people? You know what I'm saying?
I believe so.
You know, like,
yeah.
Clearly y'all aren't that tapped in.
I believe that by the time we get to the end of the season,
there'll be more.
That there are still more people to be discovered in future seasons. I do. The world has too many remote places. You know what I mean? There's too many. I feel like there's too many spots on the planet where someone could be by themselves. Like, how many recluses are there in the world, right? That, didn't change, could have potentially not changed and will not be discoverable because they're off the grid somewhere.
That's true. There's a lot of bunker folks.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my other thing about the hive mind works, right? So they all can sense each other. Can you, I guess what I'm wondering is, in the case of the 12th person we've discovered, who's part of you, but can you not then, by deductive reasoning, not figure out who's not part of you? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if the people around those people are all dialed in and they're like, we know we're all a part of it, but we don't sense X person. So now we know they're not, I don't feel them in the mix, so they must not be in the mix. So for the people that were attached to 12th person, were none of them be able to, I don't sense, whoever the so-and-so, I don't sense them in here. Are they not in here? I guess it's like, I would think that immediately, just by deductive reasoning, it's like, well, I feel all of family members A, B, and C, but I don't feel D.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And so that's a whole, right?
Right.
But I'll posture this. It took a few seconds to download and connect across the world and confirm that the 5 wanted to meet with Carol, right? So maybe times that by a billion of just searching all of the minds.
There's a bit of
maybe, there's a delay
AOL dial-up
going through every memory, every recollection on the planet, and then searching for every person that in your life. Is that memory? Are their memories also a part of what we're feeling?
Okay. All right.
Maybe.
A little delay there.
Which means I would then say I might have to take back what I said, because that makes sense to me for okay, maybe it did take 12 hours for them to realize that there was another person, but maybe not months and months.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. I can get with that. My other question, and this is random, on the dial-up internet note is, do we think that the hive mind has a bandwidth on its reach? If you float a person far enough out into space, could they disconnect? I just wonder how far does the jujus expand away from the epicenter, right? Is there an epicenter? I'm just curious if there's a way that you could be so far removed that you could detach off of it, or is it no, we could literally send someone to Jupiter and they'd be hive-minded? Right,
which then begs the question of, are there other life forms from other planets that are a part of the hive mind?
Mm-hmm.
Because this, was a virus,
mm-hmm.
right? Who knows how many planets that signal was bouncing off of and being sent to. Huh.
Just a thought to ponder. Don't have the answer. Just once we said that, I was like, well, now wait a minute. I do wonder, how remote can a person be or not be?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know how it all works. Next.
Next, let's get to this meetup, this gathering of the people. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, we're back on a plane and, we're flying for this meetup. One of the pilots is clearly a girl who used to work at TGI Fridays. And the clock reads 2 days, 2 hours, 34 minutes, 14 seconds, and counting. So Zosha attempts to engage Carol, who is seated in the very back row of an Airbus. Carol shows no interest in moving or connecting with the hive mind in any personal way. She's like, y'all just concentrate on flying the plane. And then Zosha states that they have high hopes for the meeting, but the hive mind can't protect any of the unjoined from one another. So inside an international airport, Zosha meets with the families of the five, speaking to each of them in their native language. And then she asks if it's okay to continue the conversation in English, and they all agree. So Carol then introduces herself to four members. So we have Otong Bayar, Shumei, Kusimayu, and Lakshmi. And Lakshmi has a bandage on her forehead and is the only one who doesn't shake Carol's hand. So the remaining family members and chaperones of the five who have introduced themselves, they then greet Carol in unison and they introduce themselves. So Carol then notices a patron is missing, and Zosha informs her that Mr. Diabati will is traveling separately. It's okay. Is traveling separately and will arrive shortly. So they all head outside to meet him, and he flies in on Air Force One and welcomes them to his plane. Zosha says it was available to anyone who asked. Like, I mean, hey, you could have had Air Force One.
You could have had Air Force One.
So inside the plane, Kumba is flagged by a line of scantily clad, well-dressed women who proceed to smooth talk Zosha in French. And Kumba's women greet Carol in unison. So while everyone is impressed and exploring the plane, Carol sits stone-faced, refusing any refreshments or small talk. She then gathers everyone's attention and requests that all the family members and beautiful women head to the tarmac, which upsets some of the six. Why did their families have to leave? But eventually the hive mind complies. So Carol then asks Pirate Lady if there are any mics or recording devices, and Zosha knows of one and turns it off. And then as soon as she leaves, Carol rushes to ask the group, lost my spot. As soon as she leaves, Carol rushes to ask the group what they plan to do about this. Does anyone have any science or medical degrees? What do you guys do? And she implores the group that it's up to them to set the world right. They have to save the day here. But Mr. Diabati questions why the world needs saving or changing. He's clearly pleased with the arrangements. A frustrated Carol says that despite the perks, this is not right. She's then interrupted by Lakshmi, who says Carol's outburst caused a car crash that killed her grandfather, who was driving at the time. Carol apologizes and tries to reassure Lakshmi that it won't happen again, but she also reminds them that everyone they know is essentially already lost. They are not themselves. Lakshmi maintains that her son is still her son, while Carol reminds her that he can also fly a space shuttle and perform open heart surgery and has the knowledge of her gynecologist. And Carol implores her son is also her gyno, her prime minister, and some guy she dated in high school. Mr. Diabati makes the case that while they've met, no one has been murdered, robbed, put into prison, or racially profiled. The zoos are empty. The animals are free. There's peace on earth right now. Everything seems good. And after a tangent conversation about freed animals, Carol asks them what's going to happen once the hive figures out how to assimilate them too. Kusumayu then shares that that's what she wants. She wants to be with her family. She likes the way it sounds. And so Carol tries to empathize with her and tells her, but everything that makes her an individual will be gone. But that doesn't faze Kusumayu. She is sold and simply on knowing what they say, it feels like on the other side. And so we then find out that Carol is the only one who hasn't asked any of the hive how it feels to be a part of the hive. So Mr. Diabati then feels the tension rising and turns the conversation by asking who's hungry.
This guy's a mess.
I do like Mr. Diabati, but we'll get there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, so we're getting this gathering going. We're starting this meeting. Everybody's about to circle up.
Before we get there.
Oh, before we get there.
TGI Fridays when they're flying the plane.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was like, oh, she works at TGI Fridays. Hilarious. However, it makes no sense.
Uh-oh.
Considering the fact that they have carefully selected and crafted Zosha specifically to make Carol feel more comfortable. Why would you have a TGI Fridays waitress flying the plane?
See, this is what I'm saying about when they
Uh-huh.
decide to make considerations and when they don't.
When they don't,
You
right?
know how Carol is at this point. You've been around her enough to realize she's already skeptical and hesitant. When
Right.
you try to make things feel as close to normal as possible
Right.
to get her on board.
Yes, and Carol makes a joke, like makes a quip, like make sure the TGI Fridays girls knows what she's doing. Like worry about her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, you clearly still don't understand how this works, Carol. She knows how to fly the plane because everybody knows how to fly the plane. But that's not the point. The point is you want to keep this woman happy until you can have her join. Put the person in a pilot's outfit. It doesn't have
It's
to even
not
be
that
someone who was
difficult.
really a pilot because Carol
She'll
won't know any
never
difference
know.
if she just
Exactly.
looks like a pilot. Right. And so I just thought that detail was weird. I was like, this is funny, but doesn't make sense.
Well, and they continue. Well, and that's getting ahead of myself. But let's just say this won't be the first time or the last time that they
Yeah.
do that, where they
Yeah.
don't even present the appearance of people looking the part.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a very good point.
And then another piece that stood out to me on the plane ride there is when Sosha says we can't really protect you from one another. So I was like, huh, are they trying to intimidate Carol because they know, like, they're not in her head, right? But obviously they know why she wants to meet with the other people, right? Like they're not dumb.
No.
They know that she wants to work with them to figure something out. So are they trying to intimidate her? I can't imagine that any of all the people so far that we
Mhm.
know of, right? We don't know the people who don't speak English and we haven't yet met the man in Paraguay, right?
Mhm.
But of the people we know so far, I can't imagine any of them have done anything to make the hive think they're dangerous. Carol's
Right.
the only one who has.
Right. Yeah.
So this was not, I mean, it was a truthful statement in that, right? They can't, but it was also misleading because that would make you assume that someone has done something threatening.
True.
But I don't think they have. So I was like, I don't like that.
Yeah, they're definitely putting
Intimidation.
suspicion into her mind.
Uh-huh.
Again, whether it's predicated on anything real or not doesn't matter.
Yeah. And now that we're talking about it, just popped into my head. It makes me wonder what was said to the others about Carol.
Oh, you already know that they're seeding them with, oh, well, I mean, I can't say much, but as you can see, it's clear she must have some anger issue, or whatever, right? Like,
yeah.
And I feel like there's an example of that comes later too, where they do kind of seed a threatening possibility with a person being introduced. And we'll get to that when we come to it. But yeah, they definitely know how to sow seeds of doubt and mistrust without just flat out lying on people, but giving enough to be like, I mean, you don't know this person, right? They could be anybody. They could be a serial killer. I'm not saying they're a serial killer, but the odds of this many people of this type of status being a serial killer is very high. Like, yeah, it's all of that. They're very sneaky, very clever, very sneaky.
Very sneaky.
And this goes back to me again to the question we had in episode 1 about the whole biological imperative and the rat. Like, more of that's going to continue to build on that, on like, when is it a necessity to act and when is it like, we have to follow the rules. We can't do this. We can't do that.
Yeah.
Don't add up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Don't add up. Okay. What?
I just had a theory about the rat.
Okay.
The animals that they talk about.
Yeah.
So they go on the tangent about the animals being freed and stuff, and how some of them got attacked by, at one point they say some of them got attacked by the lions and the tigers as they were releasing them. So animals can be carriers, but they can't be joined. Because why would the animal
attack? I suppose
attack?
so, right?
Right? Because the rat bit the woman, right? But if it, what I mean? If it was a part of the hive mind, I don't think it would have bit her. I think it would have like tried to lick her or something.
That's a good point. Again, we already know that not everything they say is what it is, right? So possible.
Right. That's true.
Possible.
Right.
Everything's skeptical and shady with these folks. I did love the tangent they went on about the animals, and I do feel like there has to be some clue dropping. So I'd hold on to that thought with them just bringing that whole story in of like, oh, what happened with the animals at the zoo? And, oh, but what about the dogs? And I'm not letting them take my dog. And just like, why? Why that whole little...
Shumei talking about the
The
the giraffe was
giraffes.
eating her
Shoo,
plant, so she
shoo.
shooed it away. It made me think of the giraffe scene in The Last of Us,
Oh,
where it's like,
yeah.
you
They're all
know,
thriving out there. Mm-hmm.
also, wow, I'm also, my brain is just connecting all of the thingies, right? Where, yeah, they're thriving because of the zombie apocalypse. Animals were thriving all over the world during COVID
Yep.
lockdown.
Yep. Oh,
We weren't there. We weren't around to ruin things. So I'm sure these animals are thriving. And I wonder if we get a time jump or at any point in time where we're going to see things kind of like run down and
mm,
animals like everywhere. I wonder.
that is interesting. Ooh, write that down. Save that thought because that's a thought I want to that's a
Okay.
thought I want to discuss when we get to the finale because
Yeah.
I have questions about the imperative from the hive mind perspective. It's basically it'll tie back once we get well, I'm going to cut this part out, but
Right. Yeah.
you guys didn't hear that. I bleeped it. You don't know what I said. But the point is later on I want to come back to that. Okay. So, we're trying to get this meeting going. It's so funny that Carol comes in automatically assuming that everyone's going to have her perspective on things, which is that, we all want to get together and fix this, right? We all agree that this is the thing we want to do. And nobody's on board. Like not even one other person is like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting to talk to somebody about this.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, and we talked about it in the mini-sode a little bit, obviously the distinction of Carol being disconnected from any family, relatives, or whatever clearly puts her in a different headspace than these people who do have attachments that are now part of the joined. So they are wanting to continue on as normal as best they can. And for all intents and purposes, they still have their person in some form or fashion. So they aren't in a rush to make a resolution the way Carol is. Carol's person is gone.
Yeah, I think it's very, very important that aside from being the only white person, she's the only person from a Western country.
That's also
right?
true.
So
That's
these people are
really
all
interesting.
from collectivist cultures.
That
right?
part.
Which is, I think, a big reason why her trying to appeal to like the individualism in Kusimayu falls completely flat because culturally she doesn't value that.
No. And she even says too in her appeal to Carol, she's like, they share everything, they gather, they da. And for her, probably in her culture, that's like the highest form of what they are already trying to do as, individuals, right? It's like, we want to live in community with each other. We want to share with each other. We want to help each other. We want to grow together, right?
Yeah, and that's what she says, like, yeah, I will still have all those things that make me me, but so will everybody else. And how
and I'm
wonderful
willing
is
to
that?
share that with, I'm willing to share that with them. So,
right, which is fundamentally different from how Americans, how Western societies are raised.
Very true. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. It's another thing I wish we had caught in the mini-sode, but
it was mini for a reason.
That's true. We couldn't get into it. But it's true. Like that really does set the tone. And it's funny to me that there are at this point that we know of, there are no other Westerners who did not get the virus, right?
Yeah.
Just Carol. So I find that also very interesting. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm like trying to, in my head, be like, why is that? But I can't figure it out right now. Too much time. So Carol's making this grandstand. I just loved the visual and even the camera framing because it's so drawn from other action thriller invasion movies, right? Where you have the president and he immediately steps into frame and he's flanked by the seal or the flag or the something that stands for freedom and individualism and independence and that whole thing, right? Like that is such an iconic shot that is used in so many movies like that. And so they do this with Carol, right? And you think she's about to have this big grandstand. I'm going to have my presidential address in Independence Day and we're all going to be like, hurrah, and we're going to fight the enemy, right? Carol does this thing. They've got the flag flanking her in the frame and then it just falls flat on deaf ears. And it's just the most deflated version of that scene that you could find in cinema, right? Because usually this is the call to action that rouses everybody and gets everyone's blood boiling and gives them a new perspective and a new renewed sense of vigor and they all are ready to go, right? And she does it and nothing. And then she tries again, crickets. or just pushback, right? And I love that they used that film device of that type of framing to
Yeah.
set up this moment and then have it just
Nope.
I thought that was
Wrong
genius.
audience, Carol.
So funny. What else happened? We've got Mr. Dubati.
Yeah. Why we think Mr. Diabati's backstory is because he's the only one
we know
who
he's
is,
from Mauritania, right?
Yeah, Mauritania. And he's the only one that doesn't come with
family,
with
or a chaperone,
family, right? So I gotta think that he just didn't have anyone at all. Because if he had someone who died during the joining like Carol did, I feel like he would have more empathy for what she's saying. He definitely is not angry in his counter to her, but he's not really empathizing with her side, right? Saying what she's saying, or seeing her point of view. So I gotta imagine that, one, I don't think they know that Carol lost someone.
Right.
Because I feel like that might change this conversation too. And I don't wonder why I wonder why she didn't say that. But also he's not in a dark place because he didn't lose anyone either. I think he just didn't have anyone before. So I'm just curious. I want to know more.
Yeah, I don't know that there's necessarily anything in particular happening in that part of the world as far as like political conflict or things like that. I don't think so. But what I'm seeing in terms of the geography is just that it's very barren, flat plains, desert, desert area.
I mean, what's interesting though, geographically, it's near the Western Sahara conflict.
True.
So I wonder if it's involved at all.
Maybe.
He's very close to Morocco and all of that we just read about earlier.
My headcanon for Diabati, just based on some of the things he says in this episode and some of the things we'll get from him down the line. My headcanon with him is he feels like he hasn't had family for a while. I feel like he's one of those characters that's been on his own for a while and has had to just be in survivor mode and figure out how to figure it out and make the best of life. So I see him as, again, being a survivalist, whether that means, getting into hustles, being a
con artist,
right? Con artist, pickpocket, or just, having these weird little revolving doors of like scammy businesses, right? Like, I don't think that he is above. It's weird because he has an ethic to a degree. We'll see a little more later. He has an ethic to a degree, but also not beyond whatever's going to serve himself, right? It's like at the end of the day, I do what's best for me and make my life better. And I'll try to harm as few people as I can in the process. But also, I'm not above stepping on some toes to get where I need to get, right? I don't think he's an intentionally harmful or callous or any of that, right? But he's clearly a smooth talker. He clearly is a charmer, and that has clearly served him in his life. So I think he just knows how to use his wiles and use his charm to better his position by hook or by crook, right? And I don't know what that means entirely, but that's the read I get on him. And so the minute he has the opportunity to level the playing field, he's doing it. Automatically. It's like, I've been discounted my whole life. I've had to scrap. I've had to fight. I've had to whatever. The minute I can coast, I'm coasting. And nothing's going to mess that up. Sorry, So that's my headcanon.
Yeah. And one takeaway from Mr. Diabati is like, none of these people are thinking big enough. That's for sure. Right.
True.
As soon as you realize that they will do anything for you, he's like, yeah, taking advantage. No, nobody else seems to be doing that.
And I wonder how long it took for him to figure out. And my guess would be not long, because he seems like a person who knows how to read people.
I had one more note about what Carol said to Kusimayu, but like we went all over this, like her argument fell flat, but she was just like, oh honey, no you don't.
Oh, the patronizing.
She said she wanted to join. I was like, yeah, kind of patronizing, but I was like, this is typical white woman. Like,
I'm going to assert my opinion.
Yeah. Because not only is she talking to a woman of color, but she's talking to a young woman of color, someone who's clearly younger than she's the youngest person there for sure. And so I was just like, she thought she could convince this little girl. And she was like, oh, and I do like that Lakshmi stood up for her in that moment and was like, don't tell her how to feel. You can't tell her how to feel. I was like, yeah, Lakshmi, you can't tell her how to feel.
And here's what's funny. Going back to what we were saying earlier about the hive mind arranging the meeting, do you think they allowed it because they knew Carol was going to fail in getting them on side? Because they've already had all this time with them as their chaperones to gather where they stand and how they feel. And they're checking in with them probably regularly. Like, are you guys happy? Are you guys okay with us being here or whatever? Right. So I wonder if they allowed it to happen because they knew there were not any open dissenters among them. Like, I wonder if there were somebody else in the group that had been as antagonistic as Carol, if they would have allowed them to meet. I mean, they say that the rule is like, oh, we have to make you happy, but like,
yeah, you can make your own choices. Yeah. I now am trying to remember, and I don't remember all the details. So we'll have to come back to this when we get to Mr. Paraguay, Mr. 12th person.
Just again, going back to what you said earlier about like the shadiness of like when they are or aren't truthful.
Yeah.
I just feel like they probably ran several simulations to be like, you know what? I don't think we have anything to worry about this little exchange.
Yeah, the inner monologue is like, oh, she's going to try to do this, but we don't have to worry about anything. We know these people solidly have no problem with us.
And even with Mr. Paraguay later, I have thoughts on that as well. So we'll discuss that in the future. All right, let's talk lunch because, you know, as Mr. Diabati said, I'm famished. It's been a while since we've had a chance to eat. So outside of a beautiful villa, the hive brings everyone their favorite dishes. Mr. Diabati, however, mentions that he requested lobster, even though he's very pleased with this home-cooked meal that they brought him, something that reminds him of his childhood. But lobster was what I asked for. And Zosha tells him that live lobster is the only thing they could find. So unfortunately, they could not provide that. And Mr. Diabati seems very confused. And he's like, well, you know, we don't kill any living thing, so can't kill the lobster for you. That leads the others to start asking questions of the hive in terms of like, are you vegetarians? Under what circumstances could you kill something? Mr. Diabati asks, oh, well, you could certainly kill a snail, right? It's just a snail, so I could have some escargot. Shumei asks, what about a wasp that's about to sting you? Obviously, it's threatening you. Couldn't that count? One of the other guys asks about what if you accidentally step on a tiny insect? You know, what does that mean? So a lot of trolley problem questions being presented here. But essentially, the woman states that they try not to purposely end life. They do their best not to intentionally kill. So let's keep that in mind. Carol finds irony in their statement and their refusal to kill, but they have no problems enslaving a planet, right? But the woman says that they don't see that as what the joining is. So Carol pushes back and states that not being able to give consent to being a part of their joining is not okay, right? And then she asks how many people died because of their mass attack when they decided to just infiltrate everybody. The woman said that the first few months there actually were no deaths. It was very peaceful transitioning people from one side to the other until the military discovered them. And that's when they had to push the needle a bit. So to avoid more bloodshed in their estimation, they had to accelerate the process. Carol then presses for an answer to her question, how many people died? The woman finally replies, 886,477,591 ... as of this moment. So that's not a few. Lakshmi reminds a very smug Carol that she also killed 11 million people with her own stint. So can't get too high on that horse. Unfazed, Mr. Diabati asks if he killed the animals, would the hive mind still cook them? Because that's where his head is at. They say yes, which he's very satisfied by that answer. So he's like, cool. Carol then takes a long drink from her glass of wine, and Zosha offers to take the families to the Guggenheim Museum and talks about how beautiful it is, blah, blah, blah. But Carol states that she wants to go home, to which Lakshmi says, good riddance. So Carol turns around and calls the group traitors to the human race. And as she storms off, she ends up passing out in the grass. And then the hive women race to assist her. That includes Zosha. They're shaking her. They're trying to wake her up. And as Carol starts to come to, she begins to start screaming at them to get off her. And she gets really angry and hostile again. And this causes all the hive to have another meltdown. So they're seizing. They've fallen literally on top of her now. Carol then rolls them over and sees the impact, not just on the women that are surrounding her, but now all of the families that are attached to the 6 at the table. Lakshmi hurls curses at Carol in her native tongue. I don't know what she said, but it didn't sound good. And Carol looks on at the scene in horror, knowing that she has caused yet another set of potential deaths. So this lunch sounds like a good time. um, the theme kind of continues on into the scene from the last scene where everyone's having fun and Carol is not. She's very much the Eeyore, the party pooper. She's not into it. She's not enjoying it. She's barely eating. She's mostly drinking, per usual. So we get into the whole question about, the vegetarian, the killing.
Yeah.
What are the rules? I love that everybody's trying to figure it out, right? Like that is a very good question to get clear on, right? So wait, you can't kill. You can't kill or you won't kill. You could kill, but what about this situation or this situation or this situation? Like, let's get clear on what the threat is, right? And I don't think everyone else is seeing it as a threat per se, but probably in the back of their minds, they are wondering, so I'm safe from you people, essentially?
Yeah, right. Yeah. As you were pointing out things for viewers who may be watching this for the first time to hang on to, another thing to hang on to here is how she answered. She didn't give a direct answer. She said that would be our preference. So are you guys vegetarian? That would be our preference.
And we try not to intentionally.
Right. Well, wait a minute.
What qualifies as an accident for y'all?
Right. Or even just like, what do you mean that would be our preference? You can choose to just be a vegetarian right now. So what are you talking about?
Right. Right. And even that statement, I have questions for later. So anyway, I loved the part where once again, Lakshmi and Carol are going toe to toe. And Lakshmi is insisting, my son is my son. You don't know anything, lady. Ba, 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 ba. And then Carol just automatically starts asking the kid about like, hey, so what type of speculum would you use on, a gynecological exam? What's your preference? So would you do this? Would you do that? What do you do? Tell me, kid, what's on? And it's funny because you can see it's an interesting both acting choice and reveal by the child's response, right? There's a part of him just in his facial reaction and his hesitation that you can see him being like, I know I shouldn't answer this because I'm a kid, but also I'm compelled to give the answer because I kind of just have to, right? But you don't have to. But
so to build on that, I think it's less about because I'm a kid and more about
I have to present.
Because I have to present as Lakshmi's kid, right? Because if everything we're doing is to keep the unjoined happy until we can make them join, but now we have two unjoined with opposing, right? Now what do I do? So I think it's more about like, well, mom does not want me to answer this question, but Carol does. So what do I do?
And it's just funny the way he's like, well, it depends.
You just get in there when she was like, or do you just get in there with your little hands?
Well, you certainly don't palpate with your tiny little fingers, right?
Carol, so inappropriate, but making your point. Like, I get your point. I'll come back to this at the end because I kind of have one big takeaway from all of this, this episode. But yeah, that part was really funny.
Okay.
When Lakshmi pointed out that Carol killed 11 million people, this is where, just bringing back the theme of lying again, I said, the first time I watched, I said, oh, so they can lie. Carol, tell them that they can lie. Why wasn't your immediate reaction, that's not what you said. You told me I only killed a few people. Like, I would have had that. My gut reaction would have been to have that argument with Zosha right there in front of everybody. Even if it wasn't, I think at this point, there's no conversation of they can lie. They can't lie to us. I can't remember. I don't think it's come up yet. They can't lie to us.
Right.
But everyone is acting as if they just believe full face what they've been told by these people. They don't think they're lying. So I feel like I still would have had it in my mind to be like, you lied to me. Like, how can we trust any of this? You lied to me. And I want them to know, because that potentially could be the turning point to get these people on my side.
Right.
To point
like they
out
aren't so trustworthy.
These people are not trustworthy. So I was like, Carol.
It would have been good to have that conversation then to be like, I would immediately been like, you told me it was only a few.
Exactly.
It was 11 million
What are you
people?
talking about? Mm-hmm.
who found, yeah, I would have started that controversy right there. That could have been a game
Right.
changer in some decisions, but
And I'm just like, was that just like
Carol was
you
too
not?
drunk.
That's exactly what I was about to say next. So I was like, was that just because you were drinking too much, Carol? You didn't think of it then? But yeah.
See, this is why you can't be inebriated all the time, guys. You don't have that clarity of thought to like be dialed in when the moment calls. So, oh, your note about Lakshmi.
Yeah, you had a numbers question. Did you want to talk about your numbers?
Oh,
Or
well, so yeah, so when we get to the 500 and whatever many millions of people that have died up to this point, I was trying to figure out, is that including the 11 million that Carol was responsible for, or not
I don't
including
think
the
so.
11 million? And then I also was like, is that from the very first event? Or yeah, is that the number of people they lost doing the hard press, so to speak?
Yeah.
Or is that also including that and the 11 million people that you also contributed to when you yelled at us? I don't know.
I don't think they're counting the 11 million people.
Okay.
Because she asked about the joining specifically. Carol asked about the joining.
Only reason that's true, she did. The only reason I was wondering is because she said to this point,
as of this
or
moment.
as of this moment,
which doesn't make any sense unless, like a disaster, they're still counting the bodies.
That's a good point.
They're still figuring out how many people have actually died.
Because we did at the beginning of this episode see them still gathering bodies. So yeah,
or also the people who didn't. Not everyone who has died from it died immediately like Helen did.
Yeah.
They might be
people that are in critical or something
who are already joined still dying.
That's a good point.
Which they wouldn't admit to, right? Unless they're asked directly.
Right. No, exactly. No. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. All right. That could be part of it too. I just was curious. I was like, yeah, the fact that she added on the for the present or whatever she said, at the present moment, means that there's still tallying being made. And what's the tally? What's included in that?
Yeah. Right.
So
messy.
Yeah.
So then speaking of the 11 million, my last point was, why, if you know that this person killed 11 million people with a tantrum, why would you provoke her? Like, why are you pushing her buttons right now?
Great question.
If you already you're angry, are you going to kill people again? Even on the plane, she's like, you're the angry person. And when Carol says it's not going to happen again, she's like, I don't really trust that. You seem pretty angry. So why are you making her more angry right now, you dummy? And it just made me think of, because of the recency of us doing the Wonder Man review, it makes me think of Simon's brother provoking him in the kitchen, where we had this whole conversation about why are you provoking a super who does not have control of his powers, and you know this about him already, and you are provoking him.
Yep.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
Dumb.
Yeah, it was dumb. I mean, I'm willing to bet that Lakshmi has her own set of anger issues, TBH, and it just isn't getting pushed out the way that Carol's are, because again, she's got personal investment, right? So, but she seems like an angry person too, because she's so equally combative, right? Like, she comes in ready to go toe to toe with Carol. Like, I don't like you, and I'm gonna let you know at every turn, I don't like you, and I'm gonna push your buttons whenever I can because I don't like you. Like, it's very Kendrick Drake. Like, I hate the way that you walk. I hate the way that I hate like, it's just like, geez. Anyway, yeah, that's my take. Are we ready to wrap this up?
Let's do it. Okay, so we zoom in through a window to a room, and the clock reads 2 days, 16 hours, 13 minutes, and 37 seconds. Carol wakes up from her drunken stupor, surrounded by pillows and guilt. She grabs more liquor and calls a number. Stop putting liquor by her. Like, she don't need to wake up by it. Like, okay, in her house, you're not going in her house and taking her liquor, but why was there liquor right here?
Or they're trying to keep her drunk on purpose.
Oh, good point. Anyway, sorry, you just reminded me that she woke up and immediately drank again.
Yeah.
For the second day in a row. Okay. So the woman answers asking how Carol is feeling. Carol asks how she is feeling, and the woman replies, like, couldn't be better. We're all good. And so Carol asks if there's anything they can give her to keep her from doing this. And the woman says no, but offers a great breakfast instead. And so Carol wants to know how bad she messed things up with the group. And the woman says everyone has left but one. So downstairs, Mr. Dubati sips a martini in delight, and Carol enters, and the hive does its usual group greeting. And Kumba dismisses the girls and wants to talk to Carol alone. And so he tells her that he's headed to Vegas to live in Elvis's penthouse. It's rumored that Elvis haunts it, and he's intrigued by this. I thought that was funny. And so he asks Carol if he can bring Zosha with her permission. And Carol's like, who's Zosha? To which Diabate says, your chaperone? And Carol suddenly realizes that she has not asked anything about her. So she asks Kumba for what, and he smiles coyly, and then Carol is disgusted. But he says over the last few days, he's connected with Zosha. He's gotten to learned her name. And now he wants to spend more time with her. So Carol doesn't like this. She says, what is wrong with you? Insinuating that Mr. Diabati has a medical issue with keeping it in his pants. And he realizes that he struck a nerve with Carol, but Carol maintains that Zosha is of no significance to her. So Zosha is summoned, and Mr. Diabati surveys his intentions with her. And she says she's happy to go with him with Carol's permission. So Carol chides Zosha for being a willing sex doll and Mr. Diabati's harem. And she begins to go off again until Mr. Diabati calms her down with a reminder of the consequences of getting too worked up. So Carol then tells her she can go if she wants to, but Zosha says they can't choose, which, of course, Carol is like, you can do complex equations, you can choose. But Zosha says they can't choose because choosing either way would hurt one of them, which is interesting if we think about the conversation we just had about answering Carol's question. Okay, anyway. So Mr. Shivati says, this doesn't feel like the end of the world, Carol. I don't know what movies you're talking about. It seems pretty good. But Carol storms off, and on the plane, she reflects. Then she looks out the window and she sees the women loading Air Force One, including Zosha. And Zosha looks back at Carol's plane before they shut the plane. And Carol closes the window screen, attempting to ignore her, but then she runs off the plane. She flies on the tarmac right in front of Mr. Diabati's plane with a gesture for the plane to stop. Carol.
It's like a romantic movie.
Kinda.
Most twisted version of it. All right. So we are 2 days into this chaotic situation. And yeah, I took note of Carol drinking again because I had the same reaction as you. Was like, God, there's liquor everywhere. How does she always find the bottle? Like, immediately wakes up and looks for the bottle in her room. Like, that's crazy. And the funny thing is, watching, I think even this time through, when they did the pan in through the window, I thought they were back at her home because of how quickly she got to a bottle.
Yeah.
But then I was like, wait a second. Carol at home isn't sleeping in her bed yet. And I was like, oh, wait, they're still wherever this resorty.
Bilbao, Spain.
Yes, they're still there. So it took me a second to register. But I think it was because she so quickly got up and immediately knew to get to the bar and get to a drink. I was like, how? You just got up.
Carol's got a problem.
Boy, I don't understand that at all. Oh, that hair of the dog. No. Okay, so when she gets the call from Zosha and they're talking and Zosha's like, hey, good morning. How you doing? Are you okay? Da, da, da. And then Carol's like, are you guys okay? And she's asking about like, all right, how much damage did I do this time? And when she kind of wrangles her brain about it and she's like, is there anything you can do to keep me from doing this? Which is simply asserts like, is there any way you can keep these incidents from happening, whether it's like fix me or fix you guys? And clearly there's not. I said to myself, wait a minute. Can't y'all give Carol like meds to calm her down? Xanax, something?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all all doctors. You're telling me there's nothing you can do to kind of keep her a little more tranquil? I don't believe that. That's not true. So I, like you, was like, that's a lie. Y'all could do something. You could minimize the impact at least by zoning her out.
When I saw that question, I was like, okay, that then brings up, which I see is later in your note here, of what their definition of hurting or harming someone is.
Mm-hmm.
Because it makes me wonder if they think like those meds are harmful.
That's true.
So like if she found some Xanax on her own, they're not going to stop her from taking it, but they're not going to provide it to her. I wonder.
But then the contrary of that is, but then you're giving her alcohol that knowingly has negative impacts and consequences at every turn.
But did they give it to her?
They didn't withhold it.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Exactly. They're not going to suggest it, but if she asks for it, they're going to do it, which we learn later. They definitely give her something that is hard, because she could do harm with.
That's true.
But yeah, I was like, yeah, why didn't they say there's lots of options, actually. We could sedate you if you'd like. We could do this. We could do this. Because there are plenty of options.
Wouldn't it be easy, like you said, to present options and be like, if you'd like us to give you this, we could. Would that make you happy, Carol?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a more compliant person that you could possibly sway.
Right.
Unless the rules don't permit someone under the influence to consent to their joining, or some nonsensey something answer like that. Because I'm like, is it that, if she gives consent to join, but she's like medicated, then it doesn't count?
Then you would think they would not want her to drink. Here's the real. The rules are bullshit and they don't even know what they are.
You're right.
Like,
we're just making this up.
They're just flying by the seat of their pants.
We've never invaded a planet before. Golly.
They don't know. We don't know because they don't know.
It's true. You're right. But yeah, so that was my thought in that moment. So then when they go downstairs to meet, or when Carol goes downstairs to meet Diabati and realize that he's the one Lone Ranger left to engage with her.
Yeah.
So the first reaction I had was when she went downstairs and the girls do the group greeting again. And I thought to myself, now, wait a minute, because this brought me back to the earlier part of the episode where I was like, they don't wave at each other or say hi to each other.
Yeah, they don't have to say hi.
Right.
Yeah.
But then they constantly are over greeting Carol.
Yeah.
And again, have y'all not figured out Carol yet? She hates this. Sorry.
Right.
So the fact that she already heard from Zosha and got a greeting from Zosha, do the rest of them need to do it? They don't, because they've already technically done it, right? We've already, as the hive mind, said good morning, hello, ba, ba, ba. And it would be more normal appearing for Carol to come downstairs and them not say anything to her. But they keep over greeting her. Hello, Carol. Good morning, Carol. Oh, we want to make you happy, Carol. It's like, you guys are bad at this. Y'all are bad at hive minding. You're not picking up on the body cues.
Yeah.
The body language is saying we hate it, we don't like it, we don't want it.
Yeah. I don't have an answer for that, as it doesn't make sense. Yeah. You just said hi to her. Why do you need to say hi again? Because it's a different body?
But y'all don't acknowledge different bodies, really.
Right.
Not really.
Right. If you've already told her we are we and not any individual, then why does it matter that she's encountering another one of you?
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what they're doing.
They don't. Like you said, they're making it up. Making up the rules as they go.
They're making it up as they go. Okay, so I'm going to snowball all of these because they all roll into the final thing. So one, when Mr. Diabati says he has gotten to know Zosha, I'm like, no, you haven't. They're a hive mind, bro. You haven't gotten, you asked her name and they told you this body's name. Sure. I highly doubt you asked any other questions. Maybe it's possible, but I don't think so. You haven't. She said what you wanted to hear.
Yep.
You haven't gotten to know her. So what are you talking about?
Exactly.
The real answer is, I think she's hot. That's it. Okay. But let's say for a moment that he did get some kind of information from her and he believes it.
Right.
Why do you believe it? Right. So my thing there was like, you don't know anything about this woman or any of these women. So then my other point was, Carol, do you not understand how this works yet? You did not have to stop the plane. All you had to do was tell your pilot to get Pirate Lady back on this plane.
That's true.
Why did you run out? Like you made this big grand gesture.
Risk your life.
Again, this grand romantic gesture, right? It's like the pre 9/11 running through the airport to
Yep.
stop the love before they get on the plane.
Yep.
You're in, right? Like that's how big it was. Girl, you could have just, you said stop the plane, get her back on this plane. That's all you had to do. And so those things coupled with, Lakshmi being adamant that this is my son, and the genuine surprise on her face when he started answering the speculum question. My overall takeaway, and it's still early for them, so I don't blame them, but no one seems to fully understand what's happening here. They all, on the surface, understand that this is a hive mind and they're all connected, but they keep showing it in all kinds of different ways that they don't really fully understand that these are not your people. They can just access your people's memories, and then they are all connected. You don't need to repeat anything to anyone.
No.
Right? Like you don't need to talk to any specific one person. They are all gonna get it. Don't tell them no secrets. They're not safe.
No.
Nope. I don't like none. I got to the end of it and the rewatch was like, none of y'all really understand what's happening here, do you?
No. I was like, nobody understands what a hive mind is. Why aren't y'all getting this? It's true. It's true. Yeah. It was a cool little plane scene though, visually,
right,
nice.
Right.
But it made absolutely no sense. And I didn't even think about what you were saying. Like, I just was like, why did you need to run on the tarmac? That's silly. But the fact that she literally could just go up to the pilot and be like, hey, stop the plane.
Right.
Or stop that Air Force One.
Lady back here. Right. Just like you picked up the phone, you don't know who you talked to earlier in the episode, and you picked up the phone and said she can come back. Right?
Mm-hmm. She's drunk.
Silly.
That's going to be my excuse
drunk.
for everything.
She's drunk, right?
She's not doing nothing to make no sense.
Like, here comes, we're getting the themes are coming to fruition. They're starting to form themselves here. Yeah. Is that Carol is drunk, the hive lies, and they don't know what they're talking about.
It's true. I think we're nailing it. I think we're pretty much getting it. Well, guys, I don't know. Did you have anything else for this final?
No, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
I don't think we need to say much more. That was episode 2, Pirate Lady. Oh man, the more we talk, the more things start to stand out to me that were not standing out to me my first watch through. And I was really trying to understand it. But again, I guess just like that initial download, you just can't parse out all your thoughts. Yeah. And so each time we go through an episode, I'm like, now, wait a minute. Like, hold on a second. Actually, wait a second. And so even the lying stuff is starting to become way more prominent to me because even the first time through, I was like, they cheat in the system somehow. I'm not quite sure how, but I just know that everything they're saying it is ain't what it is, right? And now that we're picking little things apart, I'm like, they've been lying this whole time.
They really have.
The whole time. So, yeah. And don't expect the lies to stop, guys. They're going to keep going. They're going to keep on going. But you know who's not going to lie to you? These gals, at least not intentionally. What we are going to do is tell you how you can connect with us when you're not listening to the podcast. You can follow us on Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, Lemonade, or YouTube at the UUR Pod. You can also email us at theuurpod@gmail.com if you want to share any theories, insights, snippets, things that we missed. We'd love to hear from you. You also can join us over at patreon.com/theuurpod and join the Severed Floor tier membership, where we will have early releases of the episode, video releases of the episode, so you can see our beautiful, bright, shining faces that are not hive-minded. You'll also get to see bonus cuts, feature material that we don't put up on our audio podcast because it's an audio podcast. And we will soon have some other fun little premium content that we're wrangling together. So you don't want to miss that. Join us at Patreon. Otherwise, we always appreciate those of you who will rate, review, and subscribe wherever you are listening to us on the podcast platform that you prefer. It's a lot of P's, and I'm done.
Alliteration. Well, this has been the UUR, and remember, perhaps I've not seen the movies you spoke of, but to me, this does not feel like the end of the world. Carol, what movies are you watching?
I got hoes I've got hoes in different areas. That's Diabody's
Oh,
mantra right there. Has
that's
to
his
be.
theme song. It needs to
Mm-hmm.
play while he walks through Vegas.